Hey there, how there, ho there, it's Jeff Keller driving. Welcome you to yet another Stone Cold Hockey video for the 1999 Pittsburgh Penguins as I'm trying to get them to win in real life, in video game form as they did in real life. Third place, just like in real life, with 40 points. Rangers and Washington looking pretty good in the Patrick division. Flyers are running up the rear, but we've played a lot of games. Devils with 33 points, Islanders with 25. We're in the only division with 6 teams instead of 5. The Prince of Wales, Montreal, Buffalo and Boston are fighting tooth and nail for the division. Hartford looks like they're going to settle for fourth, and Quebec had a fast start, but they have faltered since then. Calgary and LA looking good in the swipe. Edmonton third. Winnipeg and Vancouver are fighting for fourth place. Chicago looking pretty good in the Norris to crush everyone. St. Louis, Minnesota, Detroit, and Toronto fighting at the rear. Goal scoring. Brett Hulse has 36 goals in what is it? 34 games? Yep, 36 goals in 34 games. Dave Gagne and Mike Geiner have 29 each. Well, Mark Recchi is one of 10 players with 20 goals already. Simpson. Gretzky and Hall lead the point scoring race. Well, Hall's actually got a lot more assists than I thought he would. But Gretzky first. Mark Recchi's third with 51 points. Unreal. Like, Mark Recchi is in the top 3 points. Ron Francis, who we soon get, is 6th right now. Goes against Barrasa's 18th. Peter Angelo's 24th. Standings wise, we've played 35 games. Islanders have only played 33. Edmonton's played 32. So, yeah. Flyers have played 39. They've played more games than anyone else in the NHL. Points percentage wise, nothing big. Buffalo would have Montreal because they've played 2 fewer games. LA has the better Smythe division points percentage because they've played fewer games. Vancouver would be ahead of Winnipeg for fourth place in real life. We have scored 138 goals, second in our division behind those pesky Rangers, and second in the Wales Conference. Their best goal scorer was Montreal with 125. The Flyers have scored more goals with 126, so we're 138. Only Calgary's ahead of, so we're third by a goal over Chicago. Wow, we have the third most goals. We trail the Rangers and the Flames. We're 11-5-3 at home. On the road, we're 1 game below 500, so we need to improve on that. Highlights wise, 30 hat tricks and all that. 7 games of 30 points. Washington Islanders, December the 1st, when Jim Harnifak beat Jim Lorenz, was it? I don't know. Steven Lorenz? What's that guy's name? Rick Lorenz. I don't know. Islanders were up 4-1 and choked it. Second best game, Buffalo Calgary, November 17th, when it was back and forth. Buffalo winning on the Prokashyan, and Edmonton Hartford 6-5 when the Oilers were looking good, up 4-2, but they lost it to the Oilers drop. We haven't played any games with 30 points or more. So we played Minnesota in what would be a finals preview. We have Peter Angelo in the net against Johnny Casey, number 30 in your programs. Our goaltending, Tom Brazil's our main guy. Peter Angelo, number 2. Wendell Young, Kitchener, is number 3. Wendell Young, former Kitchener Ranger goalie, won the Mem Cup for us, the major junior title in Canada in 1982. He won the AHL title, the IHL championship, and an NHL championship. Becoming the first goalie to do so. We have Mark Recchi, who's been sniping and getting assists. Kevin Stevens, who's a pretty good player before drugs ruined his life. John Cullen, who we traded to Hartford. Unfortunately, Cullen would get cancer later on. Jaromir Jagr, this is his inaugural season as an NHLer. True form. Paul Coffey, Kitchener. Yeah, he ended up on Pittsburgh because he had a contract problem with Edmonton and they traded him to Pittsburgh for Craig Simpson. Bob Erie, Phil Bourque, no relation to Ray. Mario Lemieux, number 66, the savior of Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh would have probably relocated. Julie Mullen from Hell's Kitchen in New York. Randy Gilhan, the pride of West Germany. Of course, after 91, you can't say West Germany, it's Germany. Starly Solapsky, said, being traded to Hartford. Brian Trottier leaving the Islanders for the Penguins, which was shocking. Troy Loney, Yuri Herdina, who went to the Flames, I believe. Oh no, the Flames traded him to us. I think I remember that. 1990. Okay, sorry. Tony Tanti, who ended up going to Buffalo soon. Tony Tanti. Rob Brown going to Hartford in that deal. Barry Pedersen going to Hartford in that deal. Yeah, Barry Pedersen was the 50 goal scorer that the Canucks needed to have, and they traded for him from the Bruins for one Cam Neely. Larry Murphy, great defenseman. This was, I believe, after a big trade and all that. But yeah, Larry Murphy's coming from Pittsburgh to Minnesota. I think it was Chris Dahlquist that went at Pittsburgh. I don't know. But yeah, Larry Murphy coming to us, so that could help. Paul Stanton on our team. Gordy Roberts playing well. Peter Tangalani on our defense. We don't have Francis Rasmussen yet. Minnesota, John Casey, the main guy. Brian Haber, the backup, who was tired of playing second banana to Wah, so he got to deal with Minnesota. Jarmo Myles from Finland, and also Kari Taco from Finland. Myles, pretty much the best Finnish goalie until when Mika Kiprusoff came by. Dave Gagne playing goal scoring. Brian Bellows, catcher. That's right. He was a catcher major. Mike Modano, star of the North Stars, number one pick in 1988, who the Leafs could have had if they had actually lost that game to the Red Wings and missed the playoffs. They would have had the number one pick. Brian Propp, great junior player. All that. Alf Dolan, Bobby Smith, back and forth between the North Stars and Habitants. Neil Broaden, the pride of Minnesota and part of the American Ice team. Perry Barrison, the man who scored the winning goal in 1986 for Calgary versus Edmonton. Gaetan Duchesne, two-wing guy. Brian Glynn, Mike Craig, future Leaf. Doug Smale, who once scored 5 seconds into a period for the Jets. Mark Tenorti, Ika Silasalo, Kurt Giles, Stu Gavin, Neil Wilkinson, Chris Dahlquist, the enforcer Shane Shurla, Jim Johnson, Rob Settler, future Shark and Leaf. Basil McRae, part of the Mighty Ducks movie. Sean Chambers and Mac Farrell. Here we go. 3 minutes into the game. Aggression. Robbie Brown. And they score. Prop bet. His 12th from Bratton. 1-0. 3 minutes later. Enforcer. Aggression. A hit, but no penalty. Damn. 4 minutes later. Thank you for penalty. Harrison. Let's go! Robbie Brown, you got a lovely daughter. Herman's, Mrs. Brown, you got a lovely daughter. Robbie Brown, you have a lovely daughter. I didn't mean it like that. Mark Recchi and Tony Tanti with the assist. 3 minutes later. Penalty. Zalapsky. Damn you. And we stopped Modano point blank. Woof. When you stop Mike Modano, you stop the world. Probably. But this is before Modano went supernova. 6 minutes later, no score. We're red, remember. But they scored. Gagne's 30th from Bellows and Craig. Fook. Second guy to get 30 goals and it saved Gagne. Weird enough that the North had both players. The only coffee I drink are ice caps. Catch it er. Has 11 from Stevens. And in the period, there's a fight between Rob Settler and Kevin Stevens. Are you huge? Well, that hurts us because Kevin Stevens is a pretty good player. Rob Settler, no, nobody. And they take advantage. No, Madonna cannot. 3 minutes later, enforcer, double hit. Much later. Let's go! Hell's Kitchen. Mullen 7 from Cullen. He's also Solon. Empty nets. Gagne narrowly fails to get a second of the night, and the Penguins win 3-2. It was close, but a win's a win. It's a freaking win. Dave Gagne joined Bobby Hall, my ass, Brad Hall. So it's 3-2 Penguins. So we win again. I think that's 4 in a row. No games on Friday. Saturday we're in Cupcake Town or the Islanders. Montreal loses on Hockey Night in Canada. Calgary beats Edmonton on Hockey Night in Canada. Quebec loses on Hockey Night in Canada. Vancouver wins on Hockey Night in Canada. Toronto goes Washington wins. Winnipeg loses on Hockey Night in Canada. Everyone's playing. Everyone but one team. I don't know which team did not. But anyway, we're on the island. We have Frank Pietrangelo back in that against Jeff Hackett, who had gone to play for the Sharks after being claimed in the expansion draft. Brian Hayward actually was a Sharks goalie too. I forgot to mention that. Islanders have Glenn Healy, the man with the bagpipes. Lead guy, Mark Fitzpatrick, George Menelek, and Danny Lorenz was the guy. George Menelek. I don't remember that. Anyway, the others, Pat LaFontaine. Although that would not be until he went to Buffalo. Rick Jeanneret doing his job. Randy Wood, future Leaf. Davey Folek, known for being a slowest molasses skater, but 2 years later he would shock everyone by scoring the overtime goal that sunk the Penguins home. Brent Sutter, part of the Sutter Brothers. Patrick Flatley, Lord of the Dance. Derek King, future Leaf. Ray Ferraro, future color commentator, and supposed goal scorer of 3 straight games winners in overtime, which would have been an NHL record. Everyone says, no, that's Mel Hill. No, Mel Hill had 3 overtime winning goals in one series, but they were not consecutive. Like Bill Burke, another future Leaf. So that's how many future Leafs? 1, 2, 3. Hubie McDonough from New Hampshire. Wayne McBean, Dave Shashalski, bust. Tommy Fitzgerald, future Leaf. 4. Brad Lauer, Jeff Norton, Joe Ricci, future Capital. Brad Dargano, not Journal. John Tucker for Sabres icon. I think Kitchener. Yeah, John Tucker, Kitchener Ranger. Gary Nyland, who was a bust for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Mick Fukuda, the Goon. Craig Ludwig, known for only having one pair of shin pads in his career. Ken Bumgarner, future Leafs, so that's 5. Richie Pilon, Greg Parks, and Don Maloney. At the end of his career. So 5 future Leafs. Oh no, Healy's a future Leaf. 6. That's amazing. 4 minutes into the game, we're blue dyed this time because we're on the road. 4 minutes later, damn it, we take the penalty. It's set. Damn you. And we score. Let's go. Let it. One minute later. 2 minutes later. And penalty. Fancy. Guerrero with a punt. And another penalty. Tanguletti, damn it. Randy Wood scores from Southern. Nothing. 4 minutes into the second, we got another penalty. Stevens. You can't win. You can't score from the penalty box. 4 minutes later. Russian hits them. It's Sarasowski. Colin turns it over. McBean. Oh, phew. We score our power play goal. He came in like a racky ball. All he wanted was to score some goals. It's 21st from Murphy and Coffee. 1 minute later. Damn it, we took a penalty. Stevens hacks LaFontaine. Damn you, Stevens. And Hubie McDonough from Bergen Poland. Really? And they score again. Pilon the Island from Bergen Poland. Rich Pilon, you know you're fucked up when we're dead, so Wendell Young's going to come in the net. Power play Borg? No. There we go. We score. Recchi does it again. His second on the power play from Coffee makes it 4-2. Much later. No damage. They're killing the clock. We score though. Cullen ain't so sullen. His 15 from Murphy, not from Mullen. 4-3. 3 minutes later. Forster fight. John Cullen fights Rich Pilon. I don't know why Cullen would fight Pilon, especially with the fact that we might need Cullen on the ice. Oh dear. Empty net. Other scores! Yager! The rookie sensation moves at Yager for 41 seconds to go from Trotz. Makes it 4-4. We got overtime. Ha! Trotz getting an assist in Long Island. Haha. Overtime. Nothing happens in overtime. We get a pitiful draw. So we came back from 4-1 down to get a point. Wendell Young gets the point for us. But the bad news is, just like a loss, we have to simulate the next game. So the next game must be simulated. Well, we play the Islanders. Actually, it doesn't matter. Yeah, the Islanders we would have had to simulate anyway because we can't play a team twice in one video unless it's the playoffs. And another damn tie. Barrasso ties Healy. We were up 2-0. Goals by Stevens and Recchi, and then Coffee scored 2. Islanders goals by Lauer, Folek, and Ray Ferraro. David Folek's been laughing at us. I hate that. So tie, same thing. Why is there a middle finger? So anyway, on Boxing Day, we're in Washington. And since we tied the last game, we have to simulate. And we got our asses whipped 5-2. Mike Liu on his comeback tour beats Peter and Angelo. Our goals by Stevens and Coffey. Washington goes by Miller, Ridley, Leach, Berglund, and Peter Bondra. Another iconic rookie. It's weird how Bondra, Fedorov, and Yager, all great goal scorers, actually ended up on the same rookie roster, rookie seasons. That's just it just boggles the mind. So our game against Detroit has to be simulated. We win 7-3. Shovel Day losing to Barrasso. Carson, Gallant, and Yespart scored, but we scored goals by Scotty Young. I think we picked him up from Hartford or something. Yeah, I think we picked up Scott Young. But anyway, Scott Young, Phil Bork, Yuri Herdina, Bob Uri, Randy Gilhan, Paulo Coffey again, and he's got to go scoring for Bob Uri. 7 different Penguins with the goals. So we have to play Toronto. We're on Hockey Night in Canada. Do 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 do. Da 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 da. Boom. Facing my team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, who I love with everything. Petering. That is not a verb. If you put, I don't know what the verb to petering. You petering on the edge. I don't know. Yeah, he was the goalie. He is of Asian descent. Must have said. The Leafs would soon trade him to Edmonton for Grant Fuhr. True story. Jeff Reese backup. He would be involved in the Doug Gilmour trade, the 10-player Doug Gilmour deal. Backup. Davian Rhodes, American goalie, playing for Ottawa and Atlanta, among others, and then Alan Bester. Meanwhile, anyway, Vincent Dompoos for the Leafs. Yes, Vince Dompoos was a draft pick by the Toronto Maple Leafs. People remember him probably for his time in Montreal, and so you should. But Dompoos was a Toronto Maple Leaf. In fact, the 1991 season was when Dompoos scored 4 goals in the All-Star game. And that was amazing. Daniel Marois, I think he had a 50-goal season, right? I don't remember. Wendell Clark, when he was healthy, he was great for the Leafs. Mike Krzyzewski traded away from the Kings to the Leafs. I forget who the Leafs got rid of. Gary Lehman, yeah, he had a 50-goal season. Lehman did. I thought Marois did, but no, he did. Dave Reed, known for all those shorthanded goals as a Leaf. Peter Cecil, known for playing soccer for Toronto's soccer team, the Toronto Croatians, but also playing, but rest in peace. Dave Hannon, who would do much better in Buffalo. He would score a famous overtime goal against the Devils in '94. That was part of the Energetic deal. He who shall not be named, because not only was he a shitty captain for the Leafs, but he was a shitty person in the vehicular homicide of Keith Magnuson. Lucien Debois on the team, Michel Petit on the team, Kevin McGuire, Dave Ellett, decent defenseman, Doug Shedden, Mike Foligno, with the leaping Foligno, Aaron Broden, Paul Fenton, who would play for many teams in a short time, Tom Fergus, no Eddie Olchuk. Yeah, we traded him to Winnipeg for Dave Ellett, I think. Eli Frady, I think this was just before he got traded to Washington, but yeah, he would end up being a Leaf soon. Well, out of Leafs land with the Skullet. Todd Gill, GOAT of 1989, missing the playoffs. Gilles Thibodeau, Rob Semena, and Luke Richardson, who we would trade to Edmonton in that massive deal to get Grant Fuhr. Brian Bradley it would have been nice to have the yell Kitchener, but I can't yell Kitchener because he's not on the roster. 6 minutes into the game, they shoot, they don't score. Bob Cole on the call. 1 minute later, we're blue and we can't score. 3 minutes later, they scored. Kuchereski from Wheatland and Iron Paul Morris. Toronto goal scored by number 26, Mike Kuchereski. This is by number 10 Gary Lehman. And my number 34, 33, L.A. Frady. Time 10 minutes. Kozlowski from Lehman and Ifredi. Time 10 minutes. Something like that. Much later. Score! Even Stevens is 13th. Pittsburgh goal scored by number 25, Kevin Stevens. Unassisted. Time 16 minutes. Kevin Stevens unassisted at 16 minutes. Time 16 minutes. 1-1 tie after 20. 2 minutes later. We score! Phil the Phil Bork has 11 from Yager and Stanton. Pittsburgh goal scored by number 29, Phil Bork. Assist number 68, Yager Yager. And by number 22, Paul Stanton. Time 2 minutes. Phil Bork from Yager Yager and Paul Stanton. Time 2 minutes. 6 minutes later. They tried to tie but failed. Much later, we got a penalty. Even Stevens. Damn it. But no, they don't score on the power play. 3 minutes later, we score! The Kaiser! Gilhan has 7th from Stanton and Coffey. Pittsburgh goal scored by number 15, Randy Gilhan. Assists by number 22, Paul Stanton. And by number 37, Paul Coffey. Time 18 minutes. Randy Gilhan from Paul Stanton and Paul Coffey. Time 18 minutes. And the double hit. So we're at 3-1 after 40. 2 minutes later. Shoot scores. The only coffee I'll drink is ice caps. Catch it er. I think that's the 5th straight game he scored. It's from Stevens and Tanti, 4-1. Enough about the Paul Morris. And we score again. Mark Recchi with his 24 from Erie. And Damian Rhodes, the youngster, is going to come in. Why not? 2 minutes later, they score. Doug Shedden, his 6th, and 2 bucks. How many letters in those assists? 3, 6, 9, 11 for Thibodeau, and 5, 10, 12 for Kuchelowski. 23 letters in the last names combined in that assist. 3 minutes later, scores! The Kaiser's second of the night from Selipsky makes it 6-2. Double hit. 1 minute later, Marwa. Did we take a chance? We do it. Loney the Looney has 4 from Murphy and Recchi, makes it 7-2, and basically this is a mercy. Then we score again. John Cullen from Coffee makes it 8-2. Mercifully for Toronto, it's over. We were up 3-1. We scored 5 goals in the third period, 8-2. Hockey Night Canada fans would probably be tuning into the Montreal game, but yeah, we did it. 8 goals. I think Gilhan was the only repeat goal scorer, right? Yep, he was. We had 7 goal scorers, 8-2. I'm sorry for Toronto, but no. Yeah, everyone was watching Montreal, Los Angeles, and seeing LA beat the tar out of Montreal 3-0 on a shutout. Sunday night hockey. Yeah, we play St. Louis on New Year's Day, on New Year's Eve, and Brad Hall comes to town. Summary-wise, we are in 3rd place. We're getting close to the Rangers in Washington for the Patrick. Philly's up by 4 over New Jersey for that last playoff spot with the Cupcakes firmly in last. Dogfight in the Adams. Hartford is actually only 4 points back at 3rd place, so they're fighting it out. Quebec got a win. At Winnipeg, Vancouver tied for 4th. Calgary, LA, Edmonton, 1, 2, 3. Chicago's crushing St. Louis in the Norris. Minnesota's coming up close. Detroit leads Toronto by 6 points. Hall, 41 goals in 38 games. So we have to stop Hall. Dave Gagne, 32 goals. Mike Garner becomes the first non-Norris division player to score 30 goals. Mark Recchi is tied for 5th with Cam Neely and Steve Larmer for goals. Goaltending, Belfort, Beaupre, and Rudy are 3 main stars. Vincent Riandu is probably playing for them. Barrassels, 18-3-1-1. Peter Angelo, 3-4-2. So, yeah, Barrassels not really playing well. I think they've been hurt. Unfair stat of the day. Vernon, 16-6-6 with a 3.33 goals against. And John Casey's 1 game below 500, and he has a 307 goals against. Injustice. Bob Essence up 5-10-6, but he has a shutout. That's also unfair. But that's all I've got for this video. Thank you for watching. I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.